The Nuggets are up 2-0. Jamal Murray, an incredible fourth quarter. LeBron James had some LeBron James 38 moments. We'll get to that. Mike Malone making some weird comments. I want to start with LeBron. Is that okay? Yeah, it's the Doug Gottlieb Show.
Let me check. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. But what if I twisted the way you look at it? Because today, right, we steal from Mike Malone. The narrative is, why does LeBron shoot all these threes? Like, he's just shooting threes. Sure, can't just drive in there. He can just dominate every time. Why does LeBron just shoot all these threes? Yeah, he looks tired. LeBron James losing the ball on a dunk or missing a layup is unacceptable. Right? I don't even know what Skip's saying. Right? Probably something about not having the clutch gene. Although he's done kind of a 180 on LeBron. Really, really weird. Here's the reality to it. Okay? The reason that Steph Curry is so unbelievably likable is not just the fact that he plays with a smile on his face, or, the chewing on the mouthpiece, or the fact that he seems like a good dad. So does LeBron. Interaction with his kids, so does LeBron. Wins championships, so does LeBron. Wins MVP, so does LeBron. I think a good portion of it is, even though, LeBron never knew his dad, basically left home as a teenager, saw great success for his local pro team, goes to Miami, wins 2 titles, come back, wins a championship for Cleveland, now is out in L.A., wins a championship. Like, LeBron has done a lot of stuff. And yet not seemingly as beloved as a Steph Curry. And why is that? Like, whereas Steph Curry, I don't want to say born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but it definitely was not a spoon bought at Walmart. Right? Steph Curry's a private school kid, went to a private school in college, and the rules changed, really helped him out, and he's able to just shoot threes. And, look, we're being critical of LeBron. Granted, he's not as good a three-point shooter as Steph Curry, but it's no one ever says to Steph, you should drive in more. We hold it against him because if a linebacker was somehow, you ever play a video game where you can make a player a giant instead of the regular size guys? That's what LeBron looks like, right? He's 6'9", 6'8", 260 pounds. He's built like a you-know-what brick house, right? He looks like an X-Men more than he looks like a human being. If there's a Marvel character that played basketball, it would be LeBron James. So a good portion of why we love Steph is not just that he has fun, he smiles, he shoots threes, he's creative, he does something in a way in which we haven't necessarily seen done and be successful with in the NBA before. That's part of it. But a good portion of it is kind of looks more, Steph's not, he's not tiny, right? He's not an NBA, he's not Isaiah Thomas, little Isaiah Thomas, the left-handed one. He's not 5'9", 5'10". Like, he's 6'2", 6'3". But compared to these giants, it looks like one of us. And a lot of us, if I can play in the NBA, that's how I like to play. Where I just get to run around, go one-on-one, shoot a bunch of threes. But what I've noticed is that I've noticed that LeBron James at 38 looks like a human being for the first time ever. This is a human thing to watch a guy who he'd never miss a dunk. Ball never slip out of his hands. Heck, even late in the game when they're down 5 and they trap Jamal Murray and Jamal Murray spits it up and he goes in, he misses a layup. You're like, are you kidding me? People being critical of him shooting threes. Have you ever watched most 38-year-olds when they go play pickup ball? It's 3-point line to 3-point line. He actually looks like a human being. Granted, the exoskeleton is that of a Marvel character. But the reality is, in the context of an NBA superstar at the NBA's highest level, a guy who we didn't know had any sort of physical flaws before. Right now he's struggling to catch his wind. You know, he's missing shots he could make in his sleep. He's the ball slipping out of his hands on what it's an easy dunk. Last night was the Drago moment. Remember Drago's fighting Rocky? And he's just bigger, stronger. He killed Apollo. Sorry, that's a spoiler alert, right? But, I mean, you have to have actually not watched anything revolving around Rocky over the last 40 years to not know what happened in Rocky IV. Anyway, Drago, he hits Drago and cuts Drago, and he's a man. He's not a machine. He's a man. That's what I saw with LeBron James last night. Right? I remember when I turned 30 years old, I used to play pickup basketball every day at lunchtime when I was at ESPN for 3 days a week at St. Joe's College. St. Joseph's College that's where Jim Calhoun coached before he retired. I think they're going Division I. And it's in West Hartford. Cool little gym. Donnie Marshall, who, of course, works for us at Fox and calls games and is great at it. He'd bring Andre Drummond there sometimes, just in high school. And there was all these old guys we played with. And look, it wasn't good basketball, but it was consistent. Like literally every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those guys were there, and they would play for 2 hours at lunch, and you would get a good sweat. And I turned 30, and I stopped playing professionally at 26. Right? And I took some time, and, you know, when you stop playing, you kind of push the game away a little bit, and then, oh, my God, you miss it, and then you kind of try and play all the time. So I was at that play all the time, and I'm, you know, like still kind of in my athletic prime. But when I got to 30, or maybe even, it's probably a little bit later, probably 34, 35, all of a sudden I started pulling my hamstring. Yeah, everybody get to that? I didn't move like a regular 30-year-old because I wasn't a regular 30-year-old. Right? I was a professional athlete, trained my entire life to play professional basketball. So I moved at a different way, a different level than everybody except for Donnie. He's a little bit older than me, you know, or Andre Drummond or whatever. But all of a sudden, like most 30-year-olds, I blow a gasket every now and again. And the cycle was, you know, pull your hamstring, ice it, rehab it. You know, about a month later, you're back and you're running up and down playing. And then a couple months later, you pull it again. And you do that kind of over and over again. And it gets annoying. It wasn't until I did yoga that I seemed to navigate that. It's a lot better. But the point is that at every stage in life, your body tells you how old it is. He's different than the rest of us. But what I'm watching, that suddenly a guy, and remember, like LeBron James, think about this. When they beat the Spurs in Game 7, that was after the Ray Allen 3. What people forget is not only was Game 7 close, but the only two guys that had gas in the tank were Tim Duncan and LeBron James. Everybody else was too exhausted to play. Too exhausted. The story of LeBron is one of a guy who's kept himself in unbelievable peak physical condition for his entire career. He never had a major injury in the heart of his career. You can't say that for Tiger Woods. You can't say that for Tom Brady. You can't say that for Michael Jordan. You can't say that for Magic Johnson. You can't say that for Larry Bird. You can't say that for anybody. That's one of the reasons he's been able to be the picture of consistency. Is some of it's luck, but a lot of it is he's taking care of his body better than anybody else at that level, ever. But last night he's like anybody else. He's playing in altitude. It's hard. You get tired. And when you get tired, you suddenly, things that are easy. This is what happens, one, when you get old, and two, when you're playing in altitude. It's a real thing. And all of us that are older know it to be a real thing. And any of us that have played in altitude know it to be a real thing. And altitude affects you more as you're older. But I think we're looking at the story the completely wrong way. Instead of looking at it as LeBron James is a human being? We just go, it should drive the ball more. You know what happens when you drive the ball more? You get tired more because you keep contacting all those drives. And the more tired you are, the less you're going to make it. And then you can't guard anybody. And oh, yeah, by the way, because he's 38, he can't blow by guys the way he used to. But I don't look at any of that as a negative. I look at it as, can you believe how good he still is at 38 years old? How he's able to compete with these kids? Here's I thought this was interesting. Here's the head coach of the Denver Nuggets after the win.
Do you think this team's feeding off, it's old school maybe, but very cliche, a chip on the shoulder or not?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Whatever we can use for motivation. I think a lot of our guys, to be honest, they may not admit this or not. You win game one of the playoffs, and all everybody talked about was the Lakers. Let's be honest, that was a national narrative was, hey, the Lakers are fine. They're down 1-0, but they figured something out. No one talked about Nikola just had a historic performance. He's got 13 triple-doubles now, third all-time. What he's doing is just incredible, but the narrative wasn't about the Nuggets. The narrative wasn't about Nikola. The narrative is about the Lakers and their adjustments. So, you put that in your pipe, you smoke it, and you come back, and you know what? We're going to go up 2-0.
Do you think that narrative changes tonight?
Well, I don't care if it does. You know what I mean? Because we know our narrative in that locker room. We know that we're not done. We haven't done anything yet. All right, you got to win a game on the other team's home court if you really want to do something in the series. And we know how great that team is, especially on their home court. So we're not celebrating. This is not cause for celebration. This is a cause to continue to dig deep and find ways to be better.
It's actually a really, really good take. I don't know. At the start, he was talking about some sort of, I think he was trying to motivate his team, with the national narrative stuff. I don't get that. But the part at the end is the big part, which is doesn't matter anything till we win a game there. You win one of the next two, feels like it's over.